Thank you. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, a very good morning to all of you. I listened to the first two speakers with great interest and learned a lot as an energy person. Energy is at the center of, at least to me, of everything. The economic life, social life, getting information. We talk about the access to information. How do we get the access to information? Through our iPhones, through television, computer. But without electricity, they are all useless. And today, in the world, hundreds of millions of people, they have no electricity. And it's a major issue for the economic growth, for their social lives, and relating to the previous topic on gender. I have a couple of slides I wanted to show you which station we are in. First of all, if we are going to leave this meeting from energy side with one number, I want to give you one number. Today in the world, 1.1 billion people, more than 1 billion people, they have no electricity. I think this is morally, economic, unacceptable. Where do people live, these people who have no access to electricity? Mainly in India and sub-Saharan Africa and other parts of Asia. In the last few years, we have seen already some major achievements and some success stories. For example, India is making major efforts to bring electricity to its citizens. But still, today in India, about 300 million people, they have no electricity. Bangladesh, Pakistan, a major challenge, but we see more and more governments bringing electricity to their citizens. When we look at the future, we see that these two regions, both India and South Asia, is going to do better. But the problem will be focusing more and more on sub-Saharan Africa. Today, 2 out of 3 people in sub-Saharan Africa, they have no access to electricity. And I believe this is a major challenge for all of us. Working on energy issues, economy, in media, policymakers, without electricity, life is miserable. Now, looking at the future, as we see many countries are pushing getting more electricity. This is good news. Another good news is, unlike in the past, electricity will come more and more from renewable energy sources. When we look at the last 15 years, big chunk of the new electricity generation to bring access to electricity to people came from coal. Half of it was coal, followed by gas, and renewable energies were a tiny part of it. But when we look at the future, with the government plans, about 60% of the growth for new power plants are coming from wind, solar, and hydropower. In fact, solar is by far the number one. Why is it happening? Why we are seeing so much solar or wind or hydro coming in the picture? For 2 reasons. Number one, it's a good news, they are becoming cheaper. To get electricity from solar is becoming cheaper compared to traditional energy sources. This is number one reason. Number two reason is more and more electrification is taking place in the rural areas. And instead of building big power plants and having long transmission lines, it is better in the rural locations to get electricity from solar energy. So this is, of course, very good news, both for SDG 7, universal access, but at the same time, another historical milestone last year, in 2015, in fact, is Paris Agreement. Our climate change, because renewable energies are environmentally friendly energy sources. So this is about electricity. There are big challenges, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, but the renewables are very promising if the governments take it seriously. Now, this is one of the two hallmarks of energy poverty. There is the other part, which we call cooking. You may think cooking is an easy process, but not in many countries. Because today, ladies and gentlemen, 2.8 billion people, I repeat, 2.8 billion people, especially in Asia, in Africa, use wood, agricultural waste for cooking. And it has major implications for the respiratory diseases, especially for women and children. According to a study we make with WHO, because of the primitive cooking activities, each year 3 million people die prematurely because of the respiratory disease caused by premature cooking. This is horrible. And here, women are much more disadvantaged because they are the ones who cook. On top of that, according to the study we made with a couple of organizations, a woman, and there are many ladies here, which is a good news, a woman in Africa spends on average per day 5 hours for collecting the wood and for cooking. 5 hours. Think about your lives. You spend 5 hours for an activity which is really can be done much more quickly if you have the sources, clean sources. So this is another major problem. So we see two hallmarks of energy poverty: access to electricity and access to clean cooking. But with the current policies we see, unfortunately, despite the acceleration in some countries, in 2030, which is the target year for the SDGs, we will not be able to reach universal energy access. Unfortunately, I believe, once again, this is a major problem for economy, for in my view, for the social life, for the gender equality, and also poverty. Without energy, you cannot increase the economic performance of the country. It leads to many diseases in those countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa and in some parts of Asia. So, International Energy Agency, our agency is the energy authority, as they say. And this year, we thought we come up with a strategy how we can provide a guidance, all the countries in Africa and others working with the countries in Africa and in Asia with financial institutions, companies, and we thought we tried to make a difference from the picture that we have in Africa today. This is the Africa at night. Two little lights. If you look at the Europe at night, you have a completely different picture. we provided a strategy which is going to be published this 19th of October in Rome with an African ministers meeting in the context of our World Energy Outlook, that with a very little additional investments, we can provide electricity to Africa and beyond. You don't need to, and this is my last final statement, you don't need to discover new technologies, make miracles with existing technologies, but with the right policies, taking the right policies in place, and pushing the right agenda with the firm governments policies, we can have access to everybody in the world. This is a dream which was outlined in the SDG 7, and to make it in a sustainable way was pushed by the Paris Agreement, historical Paris Agreement, and those countries and those people who do not have energy at their homes to make this dream a reality. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Thank you.